What up, playa? This is Leon, the Paperback Maniac, coming back at you with another Mailbox Horrors video. Yes, I figured it was about time. I hadn't done one in a while. I'm trying to freaking clear out my dining table. I mean, it's just ridiculous. People come over, they look at this shit, they're like, what the hell? You can't even eat dinner on this table, you know? So I'm trying to catch up a little bit with some of these books that I've acquired over the last few months, and that's what we're doing today. Before I start, I just need to give a little public shout out to my man, Matt, the Horror Adonis, who's got a great YouTube channel that I hope everyone is subscribed to and watching. My man hit me up on Goodreads after he had seen my Fango collection video, and was very, very kind and telling me about like how he liked the channel, and mentioned that he was moving this summer and that he has a bunch of Fangos, like over 50, that he was looking, to get rid of, and he would be happy to send them to me, and asked if I was interested. And of course, I said yes, even though I certainly don't have the space for it. And he sent me a box, a freaking huge box filled not only with those Fangos, but with like other paperbacks. He even threw in a couple of dope-ass toys, like a Crypt Keeper toy. And I was just amazed. So thank you so much, Matt, for that. I'd love to make a video of that, like unboxing. Well, I already opened it, but there's so many things in that box. It would probably be hours long, and I'm so backed up on videos. But if that doesn't happen right away, just thank you so much. You're super cool for sending that over. Anyway, okay, let's get to the mail. So Mailbox Horrors. I think this is part 6. Shit, I'm like losing count already. First book we're looking at is a classic cover, Savage by Paul Borston. This book was published by Berkeley in, this edition was published in 1981, the paperback. Looks like it was first published in 1980. And the thing about this book, this cover is, there's the die cut, and look at this fantastic inner artwork. Look at that. Amazing. Amazing. I've heard that this is a pretty fun, like late 70s, early 80s style slasher. So definitely stoked to check that one out. Okay, next, another classic cover. Here we've got Behind the Door by Frank Lamberth. This one was published by Popular Library in 1988, and it also has the die-cut cover, which opens up to that. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely love it. Cool cover. All right. Next up, we've got kind of like a medical science fiction horror novel. This is Disposable People by Marshall Goldberg, M.D., and Kenneth K. That is an amazing cover, is it not? Super cool. This one was published by Tower Books in 1980. All right, I've got to give another shout out to my boy Cameron Chaney. So a while back I did like some haul video, and I had got one of these, one of the books in this series, the Blood of Nostradamus trilogy, which my ignorant ass didn't know actually it was part of a trilogy. I don't know what, it was either part 2 or part 3. And I mentioned in the video, like, oh crap, now I gotta like, seek out the other ones, because you got to be a completist when it comes to these trilogies. Well, Cameron was so cool that he hit me up and said that, he'd be on the lookout for this one, and he picked it up. This is the first in the series, The Premonition by Andrew Lawrence, published by Diamond in 91, but first published by Star in 1979. I wonder what the Star cover looks like. I'm a big fan of those Star covers. But anyway, Cameron, thanks so much for this. That is super cool. Of course, it's in great condition, as Cameron does, as we all know. So I appreciate that. Okay. Next, we've got Funland by Richard Lehman. Now, I think I might have at one point owned the headline version of this, but of course, you know how I feel about Onyx. It's one of my favorite imprints, and this is the first printing, actually. It was first published by Onyx, just as in this U.S. Resurrection Dreams, too, I believe. So, you know, I had to get on that first printing. So this one is from 1990. And, yeah, I don't care what anyone says. I'm a huge Lehman fan. You know, he is a riot. Just love it. All right. Next up, we've got a book called Spectres by Jeff Gelb. This one was published by Bart in 1988. I love how it says that, in the tradition of Poltergeist. Like, yeah. Okay, maybe. Probably not. But, yeah, this one, there's the back. Never heard of this book. But the cover's kind of appealing. I don't know. We'll see. I do like supernatural horror. Okay, here's one that I've heard quite a lot of good things about. This is Yellow Moon by David J. Searles. And this one was published by Warner in 1994. Simple, yet effective. All right. Next, we've got a book called Wake Up Screaming by Vincent Courtney. That's the dude who wrote Vampire Beat, a novel that is rife with flaws, but which I did overall enjoy. I reviewed that on the channel. This one was also published by Pinnacle, as that other one was, in 1992. And this one does look, the premise makes it sound just like a fun, like early 90s kids against brutal supernatural horror, which is like always a favorite of mine. So, yeah, this guy, you know, may not be the best like on a technical level, but his stuff can be fun, and I hope that this one is fun. All right. Next, we've got Descendants by Gene Simon. And this book was published by Pageant in 1989. And, you know, I like the colors there. Simple yet effective. Yeah, we'll see. All right, next, we've got Evil by Richard O'Brien. This book was published by Dell in 1989. Some more supernatural, the haunted house horror, it looks like, which can be pretty fun, can be pretty cool. All right. Next, we've got Dreamer by Peter James. Peter James is a UK author who is much more widely known in the UK, but I am very interested in his work, actually. I think, you know, it seems pretty cool. This edition was published by St. Martin's Press in 1991, and they had published it in hardcover, I believe, the previous year. But yeah, they marketed this more as a thriller. It's in the SMP, or suspense is what it says on the spine. But I mean, this is a horror novel, and I do love the color. I love the I love the color scheme there. Very, very late 80s, early 90s. It's my jam. Okay, next up, we've got Monkeyshines by Michael Stewart. This was adapted into the 80s film that George Romero directed, I believe. This one was published by Vintage Books in 1984. And I've heard that Michael Stewart's a pretty solid writer, so I'm excited to check this one out. It's like what I always say. People make fun of me for saying that all the time. Another one by Michael Stewart is Far Cry. And this one was published by Paperbacks, the Canadian publisher, in 1988. This Paperbacks edition looks like it was first published in 1984. And this one sounds pretty interesting as well. All right, then we got a couple of John Russo books. John Russo, of course, a co-writer of Night of the Living Dead, and he was a writer in his own right. He wrote and directed some films even. The Awakening. This book was published by Pocket in 1983. This is one of those books that I first kind of heard about from Fangoria. I was reading a back issue of Fangoria, and they reviewed this book and the next one I'm about to show you, and gave them both very positive comments, which is not always the case. Sometimes Fangoria would straight up shit on some writers that I really like Richard Lehman, for instance. But they really liked this one, and they gave it a glowing review, and I said, oh man, I gotta find that. So yeah, and this was actually adapted into a film that John Russo himself directed. If I could think of the name now, it's under a different name. Cannot think of it right now, but yeah, it was made into a very obscure film, which incidentally I also had read about in Fangoria, but which most people do not know about. The other John Russo book that I read the review for in Fango is Daycare. This one, it sounds really interesting, and I love that cover. This is published by Pocket as well in 1985. Okay, just a couple more here. We've got Night Cries by Terry Kruger, and this one was published by Dell in 1990. And then we've got another one. I kind of fucked up. I didn't realize that apparently this is part of a series, but we've got Almost Human by James V. Smith Jr., and this was published by Dell in 1990. And, I liked the cover, the name, was cool. Then I see on the back, you met them first in Beastmaster and again in Beaststalker. Now they're back. And I'm like, fuck. Okay. Well, that shit can wait. But yeah, this is part of a trilogy apparently, but that looks pretty cool. And the last one, guys, last one of this little update, we've got Demon Fire by Marcia Alexander. And this was published by Pinnacle in 1982. And I love that early 80s sort of mood. The early 80s covers really evoke a certain mood, and late 70s, early 80s, and I love that. So yeah, that looks really cool. All right, guys, that's it. That's the little Mailbox Horrors update. Hope you enjoyed watching it. Stick around, or I always say stick around. Check back later this week, and I should have my next book review up. Thanks for watching again. I will see you later. Peace out.